Wavy flags are one of the most popular woodworking projects, but most require a very lengthy process of glue-ups, painting, sanding, grinding, and from what I can tell, very few actually utilize the CNC. So I asked myself one simple question. Could I create a wavy flag that was simple to build on a CNC? What followed was an entire month of bad ideas, dead ends, and the development of a new CNC technique that I've never seen before. The end result eventually became our newest CNC kit. So in this video, I'm going to show you the entire process of how I think I've just revolutionized CNC wavy flag making forever. Traditionally, wavy flags take a long multi-step process. First, you have to cut each individual piece and clamp them together. Next, you carve the waves with a grinder or a CNC. After that, you take it all apart and paint or stain each individual wave. Then you have to put it back together, then you paint the stars, then you finally do a full clear coat. Now that process could take days. So for me, the first thing I wanted to eliminate was the paint. So I established my first rule. Rule number 1, no paint or stain. But the issue whenever I remove paint is that they end up being very bland, like this flag and this flag. So now I had my second rule. Must look premium. Now without paint or stain and it having to look premium, there's only one thing that can probably happen. It has to get more complicated so it can actually look good, right? That leads me to my last rule, number 3. It must be easy. It cannot be complicated. And so at this point, I've kind of realized I've backed myself into a corner. So the first glaring obvious answer to this whole no paint, no stain thing is to use nice hardwood, right? It's a premium feel and you can get the red from cherry, the white from maple, and the blue from some walnut, just like we do on our Texas flags. The problem is, how do you get it to the customer, right? How do we get it to you guys? Do we just send you a whole bunch of pieces to glue up and you can build your own flag? Well, that starts violating rule number 3. It must be easy. And if you ever glued up an American flag, you know it is not easy. The proportions of the American flag are kind of weird. They're a 1 to 1.9 ratio with the union being 0.76, and it takes 4 separate glue ups. So I took it upon myself to do every single hard part and figured out the process of getting one of these glued up, right? So problem solved. Now we have a beautiful premium looking thing that doesn't use any stains that is now easy for you to pick up because you don't have to do any of the hard stuff, right? And it also fits on a small CNC because this one is 22.5 inches long and roughly 12 inches tall. And so this is meeting all the criteria. There's a few problems, and you probably already guessed it. There's no waves and there's no stars on those waves. And this is where the rabbit hole started getting really deep and every major problem arose. So my first initial thoughts to make beautiful white looking stars without using paint or stain and having them look premium was probably what you're thinking now, right? Do the waves, engrave the stars, and then pour beautiful white epoxy, right? It looks premium, it's not paint or stain technically, and it should work. The problem is, epoxy is a liquid and gravity matters. And so as soon as you carve these waves into this flag and fill them with epoxy, all the epoxy runs out into this nice white epoxy river and you end up with half-filled stars. This was my first failure. So the next solution I thought of was simply do a wooden inlay, just like we do on our Texas flags, right? Pretty simple. The one issue is the stars on here are really small. On this 22.5-inch wide flag, these stars are about 5/8 of an inch wide, or about 15 to 16 millimeters. So they're really tiny. And so if we try to inlay these stars with an 1/8 inch bit, it ends up not looking like a star at all. It resembles more of a circle that tried to be a star. And so you say, let's downsize the bit. Let's go to a 1/16 of an inch bit. And so whenever we try it with that 1/16 inch bit, instead of the 1/8 inch, you can see how much of a difference that bit change does. And it actually starts looking like a star. So I get really excited about this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's gonna be the solution. We're gonna have maple stars inside of this. It's gonna be amazing. And then I broke a few bits. I broke quite a few bits. And I came to the second realization that wooden inlays might not work. And here's the problem. Because this flag needs to be wavy, these stars have to be inlaid pretty deep, right? And a typical 1/16 of an inch end mill is only good for about 1/4 of an inch cutting length until it gets too fragile and it tends to break. And remember, this must be easy. It can't be complicated. And so I wouldn't want somebody to have to baby a super long 1/16 of an inch bit, right? Because for a wavy flag, we need waves deeper than just 1/4 inch. And that's about as far as we can inlay the stars, is only about 1/4 inch. So because we couldn't use the 1/8 inch bit, and we're going to have to use the 1/16 inch bit to make the stars look good, but the 1/16 of an inch bit wouldn't go deep enough to actually give us the stars we need to actually make waves in it, I started banging my head against the wall. Yeah. And so I thought, what about V-carve inlays? Why not do it with a V-bit just like I do on all of my cutting boards? Well, you can't do a V-carve inlay on a curved surface. And even if we could figure out a way, which I have not, it still would not be easy. It would look premium though, I'll give it that, but it would not be easy. And so now we're stuck, right? We can't use an 1/8 inch bit, can't use a 1/16 inch bit, they're too fragile, physics, right? So at that point, I honestly just dismissed the project. I didn't think it was possible. And it was about 2 weeks later, I was canoeing on a river because I'm training for this 260-mile canoe race, which is absolutely insane. And I was canoeing with my little wooden paddle, and I saw one of nature's greatest woodworkers swimming across. And it was a beaver, right? And so that beaver swimming across, holding this stick and going to his dam. And then it hit me. That epoxy might actually work. So looking back at this epoxy failure, I was always concerned about how much epoxy ran out, when I really should have been concerned about how much epoxy actually stayed in. And if we created a tall enough dam to not let so much epoxy run out and actually stays in, just like that beaver creates his little beaver habitat, it could work. I don't care about how much runs over, I just want it to stay in. So what I had to create was a dam. A dam that is deep enough to hold the epoxy in, but not so deep a bit couldn't cut it. So whenever I do waves on this flag, I do want the waves to be deep enough so it looks like a wavy flag. And I have found the happy medium was about 3/4 of an inch deep waves. And so we can't just have a bit plunge straight down 3/4 of an inch deep because bits are going to break. And so what we have to do is rough off some of that material. And one of the techniques whenever we're roughing 3D carvings is called machining allowance. And what a machining allowance is, and this is the solution to this whole entire problem, is how much it leaves on top of your finished product. And so by allowing a machining allowance, you're able to not remove everything down to the finished product, if that's making sense. And so let's just say this dotted line is our piece of walnut. So we're going to run a roughing bit to take away some of the material. So just like right here, we took out some of the material and then did the carving. Well, we know now that we're just going to leave enough material to create that dam, okay? And so machining allowance just does just that, right? And so what we have to figure out is when the epoxy comes in here, I don't know how epoxy sounds, gulp, right? The epoxy is gonna come in here and it's gonna fill up this star, right? And this star is going to be cut 0.15 inches deep. And the reason I'm going 0.15 inches deep on the star is because it leaves enough epoxy in there where that walnut doesn't show through. So the epoxy is gonna come in, fill up that star 0.15 inches, and then it's going to start to level on us. And whenever it starts to level, it's going to run out and fill up right here that nice white epoxy river. But look, if we leave enough of a machining allowance, the epoxy settles because it's running out right here, right? It settles and it fills up that star because the highest point of the star is right here. And the lowest point of the machining allowance is level with the highest part of the star. Right? And that's the solution. So all I had to do was figure out how tall this dam needs to be. And that dam is going to be made using a machining allowance. And the only viable bit that would actually work for all of these parameters set is not a tapered ball nose, it's not an 1/8 inch bit, it is a 30-degree V-bit. Because a 30-degree V-bit, out of all the V-bits, has the highest angle, but still has some strength. If you'd use like a 15-degree V-bit, it's gonna break on you, or 22.5, it's gonna break, or it's more likely to break. And so the cool thing about a 30-degree V-bit is it has 0.40 inches of cutting length, or roughly 0.40 inches, okay? And so, because we're going 0.15 inches deep right here, and that's how deep we're cutting that star, so that V-bit, that part's taken up, we still have a 1/4 inch of V-bit to work with. And after doing a whole bunch of math and figuring out the lowest and the highest part and all of that mumbo jumbo, we came out with we only need a machining allowance of 0.16 inches to make all of this work. Only 0.16 inches, which leaves a little bit of wiggle room on that V-bit so it doesn't just go and break and it doesn't have cutting flutes and all that other stuff. And so, if we leave a 0.16 machining allowance whenever we're doing these waves that are right here on this flag, the epoxy's still going to run out, but enough will remain in the star that whenever we come back with a finishing bit and remove all of this material right here, we have a white star. Yeah! So with the last piece of the puzzle finally figured out, let me show you how we took this blank right here and turned it into the best CNC wavy flag you've ever seen. So first we rough out where the stars go with that 0.16 inch offset. Then after that, we carve down with that 30-degree V-bit to clear out all the stars and make room for the epoxy. Next, we pour in the white epoxy and watch it run out those stars. And once that epoxy cures, we come back by with a 1/16 tapered ball nose bit and carve out the whole entire flag. After a little bit of sanding and applying a finish, we successfully turned this blank into this beautiful wavy flag with curved epoxy inlaid stars. And this makes me so proud. And it makes me really proud because it took us over a month to try to bring this kit to life for y'all guys. So I happily like to announce that I did make a bigger size, and this is officially going to be available on CIC Workshop as a full CNC kit for you guys. And so what you'll get inside the kit is this blank right here, small, or large, and the large is 35 inches, the small is 22.5 inches. You'll get the epoxy that you need for the stars, the pigment, some gloves, a cup, some stir sticks, and you'll get a step-by-step video on exactly how we took this base to this finished product right here. You'll also get a commercial license to sell it and all of the digital files so you can make this on your CNC at home. So after 1 month of back and forth and trying to figure this out for you guys, I am really proud of it, and I want to thank y'all for all the support to CIC Workshop over the years. So definitely check out the kit, link is in the description, it's on CIC Workshop, and the QR code is right here. So as always guys, remember, if you ain't cutting it close, you ain't cutting it right.